All right, we'll go ahead and call the Parks Board meeting to order on March 12th. May we have roll call, please? Here.
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 Okay, would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. All right, we will start out. Everybody should have a copy of the previous lease agreement with the city. At this point in time, we do not have anything. We haven't gotten anything from the city, so we're still waiting to see what comes out of that. This kind of puts us in a precarious position because we can't do anything on any of the properties that are owned up there by the city until we have a lease agreement. Either that or it becomes property of the county. So that, I just wanted to make sure that everybody did have a copy of this so you could read through here. And when we do have something from the city, then we can actually go through and look at it and compare apples to apples. And at that point in time, we'll make some decisions. But right now, we don't have anything, so we're kind of waiting in the dark right now. So, okay. Grant request for the shelters. You want to cover that, Michael, or you want me to?
Well, do you want to backtrack a little bit and talk about the approval of the minutes
No.
before we forget?
Well, that would probably be a good idea. Sorry, I missed that.
Well, that's all
Didn't have my
right.
glasses on when I was reading that. So, do I have a motion for approval of the minutes from our last meeting?
So move.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion made by John, seconded by Justin. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right. So moved. Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah. So with the bear trap shelters, we are pursuing some grant requests. Now I'm trying to. I think the plan is to submit to a state outdoor rec fund for request. That's open till early April, I think. So
Right.
I'm in the process of filling that out so we can get that submitted. The way that grant works is if your request is under $200,000, it doesn't require legislature review. So with that in mind, the intent is to apply for one shelter, the east shelter, which will be the easiest one to build and get up and going, and keep it under that benchmark so we don't have to wait for the legislature to review these applications. I believe there's $2 million in the fund, so it'd be highly competitive. So we'll see where that lands.
That is something that we need to talk about a little bit more as far as if we're just looking for one or if we're looking for a total amount and stretch that as far as we can. It is a 40-60 request. So, we do have some options as far as coming up with a 40% that we may be able to move from one place to another to get that done. But that is kind of what we're looking at right now. So I would rather have something that if we could get more than one done, I would rather do that, pursue that route. And we can get some numbers, we can get some hard numbers between now and April 1st to kind of figure out just exactly what we can do and what we can't do. But I think that's something that we need to look at and just ask for I don't want to go to the 200K because I don't want anything to have to go to for legislative approval. But I do think this is something that would be, everybody's been asking about for a long time. So I think we need to get as much bang for the buck as we can out of this. Michael, now do you know, we have discussed this with the collaborative board in the past.
Yes, I believe so. I think I may have a letter of support from past requests, so
Okay.
I'll check with Amy on that and make sure. I know there's been a few going through that missed the meeting, that they're asking for support.
Yeah, I couldn't get logged in the other day.
Yeah.
It didn't like my login, so it let me in and then it kicked me out. So and then it refused to let me back in after that. So I must have done something I wasn't supposed to do when I logged in. So anyway, okay, but I'll get with you on that. And we'll get some hard numbers together and put some proposals together. So anything else on the?
Not on that. I just need to find a little more time to get working through the application, but I've been gathering some of the information, so, it's coming together.
Okay, all right.
Last item I have for Casper Mountain is a wayfinding sign, just an update. And these are the vehicular wayfinding signs. Visit Casper, came up with funding for this and decided, kind of which ones they wanted to do. These are all basically along the Casper Mountain Road corridor. You'll see them if you go up there. They're real similar to the signs you see around town. They're not quite done putting them in. We'll be doing a check through them, probably in the next few weeks. But I think they have most of them. They had some equipment issues and whatnot. But that didn't come out of our budget. That came out of Visit Casper, paid for those signs. They didn't have enough funds to do all 23 or 26 signs, so I think we did 13 or 14. So hopefully that helps. Along with that, with the new signs, I'll be reviewing some of the older wooden signs with staff and kind of seeing what doesn't make sense with the new signs and seeing what needs to be changed. And some of them just need to be cleaned up and restained and just spruced up some. So we'll be working on that this spring on signs up there. That's basically all I have for Cash Mountain at this time. Like to state that we're out of snow. We did get 2 inches the other night. It's pretty much gone. There's really no base underneath most of it. So you can hope for a little more snow, but I don't think it's gonna stick. So ground, it was 62 degrees up there today with 45-mile-an-hour winds. So the
It's
snow's gonna go
Supposed to be up in the
fast.
70s down here next week, so it's I think.
So
I think
we'll
this-
be transitioning to the camping season here in the next couple months.
Okay, and just so everybody knows, until we get that lease agreement, we're going to be real limited on what areas we can actually work on. We won't be able to work in the Tower Hill campground. We won't have to be able to work in some of the other locations because we don't have that lease agreement.
Yeah, so the Parks Department's putting together a list of things that I need to clarify with, if we can still operate or not, with the legal department. And that's, obviously it's campgrounds, some outhouses, trails, having events. I mean, I don't know if I can sign off on events up there for the summer if it's not, we don't have any authorization on the property. So those are questions I'm getting answered, and we'll find out, and I'll notify the parties that tend to want to have those types of runs or mountain bike races and things of that sort, so that everything's clear and open and everybody understands who's responsible for what. So
And just so everybody knows, this is a process that has been in the works for almost 4 years now. You know,
Yeah.
that we've been trying to get this taken care of, and it's not because of a lack of effort, it's just because it hasn't come to fruition yet, and we're at the point now where, we're limited liability-wise on what we can and can't do up there because we are not the property owners. So,
And Chairman, if I can make this clear to everybody, this board and myself, we're not involved with the transaction of this, on how this is being completed and discussed and negotiated. So, that lands on the commission at this time. So, just so everybody knows that, we only know so much from what we hear, and, that's pretty much it. So we're pretty much in the dark, as well as everybody else on this, but we wanted to bring this to everybody's attention.
yeah, okay. Okay, Alcova?
Okay, so the lot permit review that we worked on, and this board came to an end point where we submitted them to the Bureau Rec. The Bureau Rec today sent me back a few comments. I haven't had a time to go through them. I think they're sending that draft up to their regional office in Montana. So we're hoping to hear back from them fairly soon. They had a few questions, about storage of golf carts and side-by-sides through the winter season in the trailer park or at the cabins. That was one question, if they thought that should happen or not. So that may change a little bit. They asked for clarification on how I calculated the fixed escalator rate. So I sent my spreadsheet that does the calculations along with the explanation on how that comes, that I was provided by the state, that I followed. So, hopefully we'll have those coming fairly soon. I really would like to have them by the end of the month so that we can start sending those out with invoices and whatnot and getting them signed and everything. In 2021, we really didn't get approval for those lot permits till the end of May. So we were behind the curve then. But I think we're in a little better place, and there's a lot less revisions this time around than there was last time. So, any questions on the permit process and where we're at? I just wanted to put out there, it's that time of year to start firing up the water system at the lake that operates the trailers and the clubs and the marina. Our schedule is we're going to begin April 2nd, and this is a chlorination process. Fill the tank all the way full. The 3rd is Good Friday. That's a county holiday, so we won't be doing anything then. My staff has shifted to a Tuesday through Friday schedule, 10-hour days out there since the more daylight. So we will drain and fill the system April 7th, which is when we will check for leaks and whatnot. And then we will sample the water on April 8th. And as long as that sample comes back clear, we will have potable water the 15th. So that's the schedule.
Michael, are we gonna, is staff gonna make sure that the lines are turned off at each of the trailers this year before?
We will turn all our valves off. Now, I sent out notice before the end of the season last year, asking everybody to disconnect from our system completely. I think there was a handful of them that had not, and not to reconnect until after the 15th.
Okay, that's basically where I was going
Yep.
with that, just to make sure that we don't have any issues in case somebody has a problem inside their trailer.
Right.
That's identified ahead of time, so, okay.
The last item I had for the reservoirs is the trailer lottery process. We did a revision about 2 years ago, a little bit, to try and increase the number of, people drawn, unique people drawn on the lists, because the old system had it where, your name could be drawn several times. Every time a trailer went up for sale, so if 5 trailers were up for sale, somebody's name could be on all 5 lists. Even though everybody gets all 5 lists. So what we've done is, once your name's drawn, it's removed from the lottery pool. And so that name's on there and all 5 trailers still could sell to that one name if they wanted to. But it allows 4 more names to be added to those lists. So you actually have 20 unique 25 unique individuals versus 21. And then like if you had 3 names drawn the same, it decreases how many names are out there. So staff is looking at, and we'll bring this in front of the board at some point before submitting to the BOR for review. There's been, it seems like a significant increase of people applying for the lottery that have the same address. Husband and wife applying, and there's some federal rules that we have to comply by, so we can't, say no. Only one person with the same last name, we can't do that. But anyways, to increase their odds at getting drawn, if you have, like my household, if I put in and my wife put in and my 2 adult children put in that use our address, that's 4 shots at getting on there. And then once one of us gets on there, and then we add the other names. So if one of my daughters got on there, they could add one of the parents' names to the permit and purchase, so it increases the odds, but it decreases the number of individuals that the person selling their trailer has a chance to sell to. So, we're looking at both sides of the coin. It's like, how do we improve it for the public, but how do we improve it for the folks selling their trailers while still following the federal regulations? So, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that we're working on that, and maybe these ideas are not good and you guys shut them down, or maybe they're great and we revise them.
I think, and the rest of you guys can jump in here anytime you'd like to. I'm just talking because I have my mic on. I do think that it's a good idea that we, it doesn't really bother me so much that people have multiple names on there, but if we only use one address, that if it's associated with that single address, then you eliminate the rest of so you're basically, so you can't pull 3 people from the same address on the first one.
Right.
So
That's
all
what we're trying-
you're doing is pulling one address, and that way those people that are associated with that would have that opportunity. And I realize that there are situations where you may have kids still living at home or something like that, that we may have to look at it a little bit more specifically. But to increase the opportunity for people to be able to sell their trailer and to provide more names out there for the people that are selling the trailer, I think that's very beneficial. And I see you guys shaking your heads back there that are out of the trailer park. And so we realize that there's some things that we need to work on. And I think this might be an easy way to do it, to assist in getting more names for the people that are trying to sell their trailers. So.
No, I
Stacy?
agree with that 1,000%, because given the way the lottery process currently works, if you were, say your family all, put their names in, and I was trying to sell my trailer out there, I could potentially get, you and your wife and your daughter,
Yeah, you could
as
get,
names.
you could
and,
get
like,
4
that would
names
be-
from the same household when only 5 names are drawn.
Right,
that's
and then I'm really only getting one real offer. And I think that if we're tied down to the 10 names that we're able to pick from, getting 10 individual names of people that are interested are really important to that process so that you are able to, sell your trailer if that's what you're wanting to do.
John?
Yeah, no, I agree also with this, and as you've seen, I'm sure, Michael, since you've been here for the last few years, the number of trailers coming up are not as much as they used to. I mean, we've had kind of a turnaround and have a lot of new people in the trailer park, and I think that it happens. You might only have one or two trailers come up, and with that, you're really taking it away from that person to sell to someone with it. Years ago, there'd be like 6 or 7 trailers come up. But when you're only 1 or 2 trailers, and just like she's saying, as far as I'm trying to put my trailer up, and you have 3 of your names on there, and that's the only thing about it. You only get 5 names, and now if someone else puts up, you can get an additional 5. So I think that's some real good things you're looking at, to give a little better chance out there for both the people that are trying to draw out there and also for the people trying to sell. So I like those ideas, Mike.
So I'll bring a draft with the proposed revisions to, I'll try and get it to the board before that, but bring it to the next meeting, so it can be talked about and discussed a little bit.
And to muddy the waters a little bit, maybe it's one of those things that if you have 3 people on that any one of those 3 people that are living at that residence could buy a trailer, but they don't keep getting their name passed on. If they choose to buy one, then that's the one they get. So if the kids are living there and they decide, well, I don't really want to buy that, but the parents do, fine. The parents do, but the kids can't. The kids have to put their name back in the next year. They still have that opportunity, but it just gives the people that are owning the trailers more names and more opportunities, because if you end up having a bunch of people that are looking for a specific trailer and they're waiting for that one to come up, then that really limits your pool on how many people you have to draw from. And that's not fair. I don't believe that was a reason why the lottery system was designed. And, guys, there's always people that are going to figure out how to game the system. It doesn't matter what it is. There's always a way to outdo it. And I think that would be something that if we do it by address and say, okay, just one person from that address is allowed to purchase that, then.
So yeah, if this board has any ideas or thoughts on that, feel free to email me. And if the public has any ideas or thoughts on how we should maybe revise the lottery process, please email me and we'll take those into consideration.
Yeah, I think I would just like to make sure that we see that we have 5 unique names.
Right.
And definitely, different families or however.
So right now we do have 5 unique names. We just don't have 5 unique households.
Households, yeah. And so I'd like to see it spread out a little bit more
Yeah.
fair to those that are trying to sell.
So, any other comments on that?
I mean, that's pretty much all I have to report. As for the water system, I do have staff going to water conference here in April. That's the week after we turn on the system. So we'll be down to 1 staff member out at the lake that week. So,
Okay.
that's all I have.
Okay. Any other new business? All right, old business. Michael, would you kind of give us an update on Hell's Half Acre and, just where we're at as far as
Yeah.
the kiosks, the boardwalks?
So Hell's Half Acre, the grants were provided to Visit Casper, so they had the funds to allocate. We built a new boardwalk with a viewing deck, gives you a great vantage point. We were able to replace the fencing that was 6 feet tall with barbed wire on top down to a 4-foot chain link, so you can now see over the top and take pictures over the top versus through the fencing. We did gravel and graded the parking lot, and we gravelled the access to the picnic shelters and around there. We created an additional parking area over there, so when that's open, we purchased picnic tables and trash cans for it. And the last thing that came out of the grant money was seed, so that we can reseed the disturbed area by the boardwalk and the point and get that coming back to natural status. And then we have some wooden bollards that we're gonna install between the parking area and the viewing area. And those will start going in next week. Visit Casper has reached out to Chamber of Commerce. They are having an open ribbon cutting, I guess, May 8th. I don't remember what time. I'll have to look that up. That's a
You know-
Friday.
Okay.
Out there, and I think they've got some plans for some things out there. I was in their meeting, but I don't remember exactly what the plan was. I was letting somebody else take the reins on that. So yeah, oh yeah, and then we did create and purchase 8 like informational educational signs. So park staff is now building mounts for those to be mounted on the boardwalk. Some of them are about the history. I think one's about geology, one's about the movie that was filmed out there, Starship Troopers. So yeah, just a general educational of how it was created, who used it, and what, what's been done down there. So yeah, that's Hills Half Acre.
Can I go back to the trailer thing for a minute? I have one more.
Wherever
Question.
you want to go, I'm good.
So I don't know all the rules and everything, but is there a way, so say somebody's looking for a specific type of property, say they want 3 bedrooms or something, and what has come up is like a 2-bedroom, and they're gonna say no, so that's clearly like something, they're not gonna want to purchase, or maybe it's a 1-bedroom, or, is there a way for us to kind of weed some of that out so that we're definitely like drawing names that are interested in the specific property type? I realize it's a lottery, but maybe if there's a way that we're getting 5 names that are definitely interested, because say you've got a 1 or 2-bedroom property, but somebody's like, I can't be on anything less than 3 bedrooms, like then that's kind of a wasted name to give them. So is there a way to think through that?
That would be fairly easy to do, and leave that up to the people that are putting their name on the list and say, what are you interested in? And these are, and we will only pull your name or put your name in on ones that are specific to that. That's not, we're not going around the lottery system at all. We're
Okay.
just working within the way it is, and I think that would be a great idea. There's certain things that we can't be too specific about.
Right.
When you start saying, well, I only want something that's right next to the lake,
So
or something like that. It's like, that's a little bit too specific, but if you're looking for something,
You've got
that's-
5 people or 6
yeah.
people in your family, you're
For-
not gonna be in a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom, you might want that 3-bedroom. I'm just trying to think of ways to make sure that we're getting 5 names that are good candidates.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
not a wasted,
well, and that
Name.
that actually opens it up to people that would be more interested in specific types of property. And like I said, all we could do is just put that on there and say, are you interested in this? Check the ones you're interested in. If these come up, then, and your name gets pulled, then we'll contact you. If your name comes up and these aren't things that you're interested in, then we'll go on to the next person. It's still a lottery system. It's still
Right.
doing the same thing. We're just basically skipping over. I mean, it's kind of like a first, second, third choice on,
yeah, I
on, your,
think I could.
on an application.
I think we could build, so right now, we put everybody's name that wants to be on a lottery in a spreadsheet. And they're assigned, 1, 2, 3, 4, however they come in. So we do that, and then we go to a computer program and we say, we want to draw, it's going to draw 5 names for this lot, and we have 46 names in the list. So then it draws 5 numbers out of 46 and tells us that, and then we go back to the list and go, okay, number 27 was drawn, so that's this person we put on the list. So I think I could build,
I think
So-
you could
Just
build
put-
like a pivot table that had the extra columns on the
Right.
slide that's like, add a column for 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bath, right? Or
yeah,
those scenarios, and then only check like John Doe is interested in 1, 2, or 3 bedroom. And so you'd put an X under 1, X under 2, X under 3. But Jane Doe is only interested in a 3 bedroom, so you would leave 1 and 2 blank and put an X in 3, and then pivot them.
so the
And then you
seller
could
will have to
sort it.
notify us when they sell
The
what their trailer has.
Yeah, and then you could sort it by like 3 bedrooms,
Yeah,
and then
that's-
only the people that have marked that with an X.
Possibility. And there's been a few individuals over the last 5 years that, they bought a trailer and then they just replaced the trailer.
Well, and that's
Which,
something you could put.
I
You can
mean,
put- you can put-
economically for me, that's kind of crazy, but I know there's,
But if you put
a lot of
something
that
on there
can
where
happen.
you'll take anything that comes available.
Right.
Then that's fine. That's
Right.
easy. Or if you're gonna be more specific,
yep.
that you don't wanna do that.
So yeah, we can work on a process. We'll test the process and see if that'll work. Before we bring that to the table here. But yeah, we can do that.
Thanks, Mike.
Anything else? Anything else? Okay. Any other new business?
No.
Okay. Well, I will guess we'll go to public comment at this point in time. You'll have to turn that on and please state your name and address.
Brad Corkle, 5660 Okeepa Road, Casper, Wyoming, 82604. First thing is, why not get the whole list? It increases everybody's chances there. Necking it down to 5, like we've been talking, really limits us to who we can sell to and who we can't. And then the other thing is why are we the only one, Alcova, that's on a lottery list?
So Alcova Marina, they have to be on an annual lottery for their RV sites. Same with the Pathfinder Marina now. So if you were grandfathered in those RV sites, you can stay. But as soon as you give up, then it becomes an annual lottery for those spots. The Casper Water Ski Club, under their own stuff, they do a lottery for their vacancies. And
They're doing the same thing like you're talking about, though, where they're putting 4 names in under one address, and that way
Correct.
they increase their odds of drawing. I don't have a problem with the address thing. I get that. But then if we've got 46 names on our list and every household's putting 2 or 3 names down, that draws our list down to about 10 to 12, and we get that whole list. That's a win for everybody.
so that's the Bureau Rec dictating that we cannot just, because if we just give you the whole list, all they got to do is put their name on the list, and it's like putting it up for sale commercial, through a realtor.
Well, they're allowed to do that at the cabins.
So my understanding, and I don't have the actual regulations or letters of this, and this is from conversations with the Bureau Rec, is the cabins are, because they're fixed structures to the land, is why they're different. So, your mobile home it says mobile in the front of it, so that's
Right. Well,
my
it's like the
understanding
one
of
we
why
had-
it's different.
Yeah, like the one we had to get removed that was, highly contaminated with animals and other things in there that cost us how much money to get removed here. What was it, 2 years ago, 3 years ago out there on the corner? Second one in, third one in.
Right. Yeah, that was removed because the permittee didn't pay their rent. And that took,
And along with all the, the rats and everything that were
Right.
contaminating the
And
trailers that
and
were,
I will speak that that's not the only one that we had removed because they hadn't paid the rent.
oh, I know
and
that,
that-
that was another one up
there's
there.
actually
Yeah,
3
and
of
that-
them.
Yeah, and that's actually.
Yeah. And that was my other
a-
thing that I
That
wrote
was a
down
point of
is,
contention that we had too, is that, if you don't pay your rent, then that's it.
well, I
You're
know
done.
one of them, they hadn't paid rent for years on.
Yeah, and there was, all 3 of them were like that. They hadn't paid rent for a long time, and there was one of them that hadn't paid rent for at least 7 years. And for it to have taken that long to get through the process, that was when I first got on the commission, and it was like, this is crazy. This
I
doesn't make any
get
sense at all.
a year, to where somebody moved or had family deaths and, I get an accidental year, but if you're more than a year delinquent and you're not answering any emails or mails, I mean, I get her point of that. But like you guys were saying, there's certain people waiting for certain spots. We've got an empty spot that's open now that some people are waiting just to see if their name's drawn on it. You hand me 5 names and they're not the ones all they're wanting's that empty spot. I'm in a pickle to try to get rid of my place.
So, like it was said, Mr. Corporal, as far as it is, the BOR is the one that kind of has this board on what we can do and can't do. Like you said, we can't just give all 46 names. They put that in from original lease from whenever this all happened between us all. They have said that they realize that the lottery system is not perfect. And that's why Michael's trying to work on stuff, and also reason why I've reached out to the Trailer Park Board to come up, because they said, if you guys can give us something, bring it to us. But as of right now, we have to, so they're the ones that are enforcing the lottery on the way it has to be done. So that's kind of why we're trying to spitball this all together to try to make it a lot better out there. But when we met with them, they're like, it has to stand how it is until you give us something better and we approve it or not. So
Well, and can I
that,
have one?
yeah, I'm just saying, so there is some things we've been trying to work on. They're not opposed. They did say there's no way the lottery system is not going away. They said that the lottery system will always be here.
I understand. Okay, I get that we're saying we got to do the lottery system, but 5 names ain't very many names to pick from. Can we get it bumped?
Well, we can ask for that. I mean,
That's something we can ask for as far as, so yeah,
I mean,
that's the reason why.
that
we
doubled
want to
my
have this.
chances, I mean,
Well, and part of that, if you have an address that's associated with it, that may bump the number of names you have available all by itself. So we're not trying to be difficult. We got, like John said, we have to work within what the Bureau of Rec will allow us to do. We can present it to them and we can ask them, and I don't have any problem with asking them, but they have the final say on what we can and can't do. And so just so you understand that right up front, it's not that we're saying we're not willing to work with you, but
I don't wanna be-
we're kind of in between. We're in
I-
the middle.
I get that.
And
I don't
so-
want to be devil advocate, but I put my address down for my name to be drawn. All my wife's got to do is put down her parents' address or a work address. There's
Correct,
other
or-
ways to that system.
for a PO box, there's loopholes still.
And
Yeah.
I know I get there's loopholes, and I understand why people that really want a trailer put 4 names in there. I get some of that also. There's,
Well, and to your point about vacant lots, and then there tends to be a lot more interest, but they're only interested in that lot. Maybe we put
So,
that on 1, 2, 3 bedroom or vacant, because if you're only interested in the vacant lot, there's no point in contacting you for
so let me give
another
you,
one that came available.
let me give you a little history on the vacant lot. We removed 3 trailers, and 2 of them, as soon as we got them removed, we put those into a special lottery and drew names, and they got, 2 names were drawn, and they got those vacant lots to put, I think both of them put fifth wheels on them.
one hasn't put anything permanent on it yet.
Well, that one I haven't put in the system, because when we changed the lottery process last time, if a trailer doesn't sell, by the May 19th, that lot reverts back to the county to determine best use. And the Parks Department hasn't determined best use for that.
No,
Lot
I'm
yet.
talking, I think it's lot 3 when you come in. They pull their camper in and out and.
Right, and that was one that was done in a special drawing. That one, and then one on the back that's a fifth wheel with a new
Yeah,
deck around it.
they made it permanent like you guys have asked us to know where we're trying to follow all
But-
the rules.
You know, you can have a fifth wheel on your lot. You don't have to, and you can pull it in and out. We don't have a problem with that. You know, so there are some fifth wheels and trailers throughout the park there. And that's not a problem, and you can replace your trailer as long as you go through the process to get
Gotta
a
go
new
through all
trailer.
oh yeah, I've been down there and took pictures of all the new ones that been put in there the last few years, and I'm sure you got some of them on that one new one that went down there on the front row that was only 6 inches off,
Right.
and you made them move it and everything, and
So, yeah, so, you know, there's that process, and like I said, that vacant lot, I wasn't pleased with the way that lottery went for vacant lots, so that may become an overnight spot, and because we have a high demand for full hookup spots, and we have 2 of those in the trailer park now, it may stay vacant. There's one trailer that has a major stormwater issue. You know, and I offered the vacant lot for them to relocate to. They did not want to do that. But if we have another instance where there's a trailer that needs to be relocated, the county has a current vacant lot that we can relocate them to if needed.
yeah,
So
moving
having-
those old trailers, and you know that as well as I do. You're not going to just jack one of them up, put wheels over it, and wheel it over. And I know that trailer that you're talking about has been redone inside, and it's beautiful inside of it. So, and I get it. I mean, there's other ways so we can take care of the water issues. Agreed.
So at this point in time, lot 112, the Parks Department hasn't determined what the best use for that is. And that'll be discussed with the Parks Board at the time we need to discuss that, but right now it'll stay vacant.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see if we could at least, the 10 sounded really good to me. That 5, I mean, yeah, I'd like to buy a trailer, but I don't have no funds because we all know it's a cash fund only. You're not going to be able to go get a loan for a trailer out there.
Is there language on the lottery permit that explains that this is a cash sale? And are the people that are signing up aware of what they're signing up?
No, because County Parks deals with the lot and
Okay.
rental of the lot.
Got it.
We're not involved with the transaction of the sale of private property, which the trailer is private property.
Got it.
That's why if we only get 5 names and you put your trailer up for sale, none of them 5, I think it's written there somewhere in there that you have, after your time's up, you have to remove your trailer from that lot.
Right.
And that's why we're trying to get more names to us, because a lot of them trailers have been redone inside and people are working on trying to get permits to rewire it. I tried to get one years ago, and it was once you tear down the siding on the inside, they wouldn't allow me to do any work in there. I was only allowed to repair one panel at a time. Well, you can't rewire an old 60s trailer with one panel down at a time, and then you'd put sheetrock on top of that, which would help everybody. Because if something happened out there at the lake, there wouldn't be a thing left.
Right, and I mean, that's why there is the option to replace your old trailer with a fifth wheel or with a new model. I mean, that is an option. Not a cheap option, I'll say that, but that option is available because some of these trailers are getting to the age where you can't the building department won't let you do it. So.
Okay, thank you.
There you go. Say it again.
Okay.
The
Nancy-
reason why we can hear you, but anything that's being recorded, it
Okay.
doesn't pick up. And so that's the reason why you have to speak into the mic.
Okay. Nancy Vinsel, 4040 Grizzly, Casper, Wyoming, 82604. And I just wanted clarification. You guys were saying that the lease, a first draft has been sent to the BOR and it's been sent back with some they've requested some clarification or revisions. I believe at a meeting, Chairman North, that you were at with us and Mr. Brown, that we discussed about being a more collaborative effort, and we were going to be able to see it. Not that the first time we saw it was when we received it with the invoice for the year, and that the trailer park owners were going to review it and maybe be able to make some suggestions or ask questions for clarification then. Now we're going to be behind it. I mean, we're just going to get our bill, our permit, and you aren't going to be able to question anything.
So
I thought it was going to be
I
collaborative.
submitted a draft to Mr. Davison with the Trailer Park Association. I don't know if that was shared after that or not. I can find it.
It might have been. I'd been out of pocket.
Find
so.
a date for that. But
Okay.
I shared the Trailer Park one with the Trailer Park Association, the cabin one with the Cabin Association.
Okay.
The ski club received one, and the boat club also received a draft.
Okay.
And I may have only heard
Then I may stand corrected on that one.
comment. So
And to clarify, the BOR is the one that has the lottery requirements. It's a BOR requirement.
correct. The Bureau of Rec requires us to have a lottery. They do allow us to try and modify the lottery, but any changes or revisions to a document like that, we have to submit to them
Right.
for approval. So, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Hondo Edwards, 3870 Squaw Creek Road, Casper, Wyoming, 82604. On that lottery system, I know we can only get a certain amount of names, but if you're counting out the guys that got the same address, that's kind of harsh because just going back to the years I was growing up, I was young, 20 years old, had a roommate, same address. We both put in for the lake. So if you cut one of those guys out, then you just lost one of them, right?
Well, we're just throwing ideas out
I know, but
tonight.
I'm just-
So, I mean,
I'm just
I'm not
saying-
saying this is a perfect
No,
system.
I'm not
So
saying it
don't,
either.
so don't think it is. We
I'm
have a
just-
ways to go.
I'm just throwing something out there that's for you guys to think about
Yeah.
when you guys go to talk about same addresses. So like when I originally put in for mine years ago, me and my mom, we both put in. Yes, I was living on a fifth wheel, still on their property, but we had two different names on there. So if you guys do that, she wanted a trailer and I wanted a trailer. Neither one of us would get a trailer, or only one of us would get named for a trailer because I have her same address because I'm just living in on my fifth wheel. Or some other kid might be doing that. Just throwing that out there. I mean,
Yeah.
something
well,
for you guys to think about.
Yeah, I understand that completely. That's the reason why I said something about the kid maybe living in the basement or something else. But what we're trying to do is make sure that we have as many names as
Yeah.
possible so that it makes it easier for you to sell your trailer.
Yeah, I understand.
And
I
that-
just,
And that may be something that we have to put in, to a side note so that, yeah.
And this is why I wanted to bring this up and get it out there and ask for comments, while we go through this process so that, because the more minds we got looking at it, the better we can make it and I understand the confines of what the Bureau of Rec's can allow us or not allow us to do. So, but those ideas help maybe get us through there at least partway.
Yeah.
If not all the way.
and something like what Nancy just brought up. Yeah, Corey did send those out to us. We do have them. But months prior to that, I'd been in here and talked to, I think it was a county commissioners meeting at that time, or it might have been a parks board member, but you were there. And I asked you if you could send that to the trailer park before you submitted it so we could look at it to see if we could help maybe mitigate some of the stuff and see if we can get it put
And-
in there so it wouldn't take so long.
I did submit it to the trailer park before I submitted it to the Bureau Rec. So once we had a final draft here, then I submitted it out to the different permittee groups. And then I waited for a response for a week or two, and then I submitted it to the Bureau Rec. And where it's at with the Bureau Rec right now is I've just been copied on some of their comments. They're sending it to their regional office for review.
Yeah.
So if there are still comments or proposed changes, please get them to me as soon as you can, and we can try to incorporate them, or I can have an email discussion with this board and see if those are acceptable to revise and send them back to the Bureau
Yeah,
Rec.
you are talking about the government.
We're not,
system.
we're not in the final stretch. We can,
Yeah, I
I
was
can
gonna
still
say.
have a conversation back and forth. with
And that's what I was making sure we still have that opportunity to have that conversation
It's
because,
just that window is getting pretty short,
well,
so.
we are talking about the government, so it could take a lot longer than you think.
Well,
But-
it could, but the permits expire May 19th, so if we want to be without permits for a month, I mean,
And
we
that's why-
can't drag that on.
That's why, I don't know, it had to been October last year that I come in and I said something about it. And that's why if we had started then, we might have had a better chance and our window wouldn't be so tight on us now. We might have came in and tried to figure this out then a little, and we might have had some better ideas too, talking to other people, so. That's all I got.
Thanks. Anyone else? Bruce, we did our snow dance. It didn't work. We have tried.
A lot of wasted dancing for sure.
Yes, there was.
Bruce Lamberson, 2449 Hogadon Road. Haven't been here in a while. It's been great, but I'm back. Justin, welcome aboard. Is DeVore on the phone or is he just playing hooky?
No, he couldn't make it tonight.
Change your name to Jim, I see.
Huh?
Right, you getting cover.
Well, we just
That's
changed
just-
the name
Yeah.
to protect the guilty. So
I get it. So you're, except for Chairman North, you're getting your feet under yourselves in this new role, and especially Justin and Bill. I've got a few things to speak to, but this is a big deal you're doing. And I just want to thank you for doing it and for signing up. But I also remind you the magnitude of this task. I mean, your bylaws statutorily, a few things come to mind. That the Board of Trustees control, maintain, and manage the county parks and pleasure grounds. Monies levied for parks and recreation purposes shall be expended only by the Board of Trustees. You're in charge of every penny that goes through this operation. And that's huge. But I know you're up for it, but don't ever forget it, please. Page 3, the Recreation Board shall manage, operate, and regulate the recreational systems and may take any steps necessary to ensure the safe, economical, and enjoyable operation of the system. That's a big deal. That can be messed up or done correctly, whatever, but it's a big deal. And I guess my sense is it's slowly converting from an advisory role to a statutory role that's calling the shots. And I think there's a ways to go. And I think it'll be great when it happens because the Parks Department needs your leadership and your authority. So hang in there. And I thank you. And I really want to see some things happen. And one of those things is the parking lot at the Trail Lodge. Okay, and I'll show you pictures later on. But on September 11th of last year, many of you weren't at that meeting, there was considerable discussion about the fact that parking lot doesn't drain. It's been a problem since the beginning. In my view, and it's just my view, that building's never been finished. That parking lot is part of that structure. It's never been finished, and I don't want to see it drag on. It might have to, but I don't want to see it drag on like the picnic shelter at Bear Trap for years. Right now, that's a mud hole. On September 11th, after all the discussion, there's going to be regrading, there's a lot of finger pointing. Why doesn't the parking lot drain? There's a lot of reasons. Groundwater, improper installation, no drainage. The engineer's pointing this way, the contractor's pointing that way. All right, so the agreement then was to get a good survey done, develop proper slopes so that parking lot drains out into Elkhart Creek. Okay, they spent a lot of time. There was already funded gravel. The gravel, it looks like, but well, you can correct me later, but I'm gonna keep going. Looks like that crappy gravel that the county milled years ago, decades ago. A lot of sandstone in it. It's been sitting up at that pile. It's too fine. It turns to mud, and it's what you have, so you use it all over the place. But there wasn't a good gravel road base brought in, and it went to hell. So that was September 11th. There was a plan. October 9th, less than a month later, it was up again. What's going on? Michael said it doesn't drain. Okay, and there was a discussion about putting a drain in the low spot just off the corner by the handicap, where I'll show you the pictures later. Today, that's already a swamp. Has been all winter when it's warm. Okay, so it was discussed. It's going to be a drain that fed into that 24-inch pipe. It was a solution some of us have been pushing since that building was just getting built, because even the contractor knew it was going to be a problem. Michael presented that there was 5 people maybe interested, one who said he could probably get it done by the end of October. So this was October 9th. You asked about, Chairman North asked about the size of the concrete apron around the drain, and wisely suggested that be expanded from 2 feet to 10 feet so to better accommodate clean out and proper drainage. And I haven't heard a word since. That was October 11th.
Bruce,
So-
let me give you a quick update on that.
Well, if you don't mind, so I don't blow my time, I'd like an update, but let me finish what I'm saying if you don't mind. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, thanks. So that was 2 meetings in a row last fall, and we're still nowhere. The problem, and you definitely know that. So we have guests coming to our community, using our facilities, trashing their vehicles in a parking lot that doesn't drain, and going into a brand new $2 million building with muddy feet. And it's not finished. So I'd like to see it finished, and you have the authority and the responsibility to get it done. So can we get moving? Next, same kind of thing. Anybody who works in this community or recreates this community outside is scared to death of the fire risk that's heading our way. We've had a dry, warm winter, and it's a factor. I think you're all aware that there's no public access to water on Casper Mountain. And you who have been involved in firefighting know first response is critical. A little fire that can be put out with a 5-gallon jerry can 20 minutes later is an issue. And who is first responder up there is actually the city of Casper, because they have a manned fire station at Sunrise, and they're the first guys to get up there. And then county comes, and then the volunteers get organized. It's a great volunteer force with good equipment, but they got to get up out of their houses, get their bunkers on, and get up there and get those things warmed up and ready to go. So the response is not 2 minutes. And oddly enough, the first people there are the city of Casper, which is great, believe me. But there's no water. So we have campers coming up there who don't always know there's no water until they get to a campsite, who are allowed to light fires a lot of time and don't have a simple way of responding if they screw up or somebody screws up with a neighbor. I've been pushing hard. The only potable water up there goes into the new building. I would like to see, and this, I've been barking about this for years, I would like to see a frost-proof line from that water system feeding a frost-proof hydrant across the parking lot with a nice sign that says camper water fill station. Maybe there'd be a map of the campgrounds, but people could go over there and fill their jerry can or their water bottles or anything with potable water and have it available, and anybody could have it available. Now, I've heard all the excuses. City owns the property. Somebody's going to steal it. I'm going to come fill my cistern, whatever it is. This can be done. The water's not clean. There's potable registered water into that building. Let's get a line across the parking lot. This is not expensive. And in today's, maybe it costs 10 grand. I don't know. That'd be silly if it did, but it might. That's nothing. And with this whole Casper who owns the property deal, you know, everything I'm talking about, when a guest comes up there and gets his truck all muddy, his car all muddy, walks into a brand new building, gets the building all muddy, they don't care who owns it. They're our guests, and we haven't finished our building. When that mountain burns, they're not going to care who owns that either. It's your responsibility for your parks grounds. So, I mean, I'm getting tired of bringing this up, and I've tried to do what I can. But we need to move on these. This is important. It's really going to be critical, and it's not difficult. So, again, I appreciate what you're doing, and if it's all news to you, I get that. But it's not been news to the commissioners, to Michael, to the people who've been involved with this a long time, longer than you. And it's now your responsibility to spend the money, make the decisions, preserve the properties and the buildings, and treat your guests right. So that's what I got. And I will show you a picture of, and I know you can say, well, no, it's city, no, it's street. This is the parking lot. Parking lot, garage, house, bunch of acres. I know that the mountains walk through the parking lot,
Now, question, is the parking lot at Hogadon, isn't some of that paved? Is all of it paved or just,
No.
I haven't been over there in a while, so.
No, there's a couple 100 feet paved where it feeds to the drain. So there's a basin. And, you know, the other thing I'll just quickly add, what water does is a well-studied, engineered, long time, we have the pool of knowledge to know what water does. We can solve this problem. Why people don't know what water does, I don't know. And some of them, the county is paid to tell us the answer. And I don't know what happened to that either. But anyway, I'd love your response, but more, I'd like you to think about this hard because I'll be back. And it's really, really going to be important, and time's are wasted. But anyway, thank you.
Bruce, I'm gonna answer your question though.
That's fine. I'm listening.
The drain system that we were planning on putting in, we could not get anybody to come up there and actually do the work last year. That was part of the problem. That's the reason why it did not get completed last year. That is something that we looked at, and we couldn't get anybody to get there before the frost set in. So that eliminated what we could do. We did haul in approximately $20,000 worth of base course, and it's not just,
Where? Who's base course?
it was from Knife River. Huh?
Gotcha.
Well, I'm just telling you that we have limited supply right now that we can.
Don't spend it on stuff that doesn't work.
Well, I'm not gonna go down that road with you, but I'm just saying that we did haul in quite a bit. And one of the things that we did, and I know Stacy and John were both on this board, that we had that surveyed, so we knew exactly what that slope was before we started moving forward with anything. That's when we got the design for the drain. So we can take that water out close to where the handicap parking is, and we can drain it. But unfortunately, up on the mountain, it's just like down here. When frost sets in, you can't get anybody to do anything because it tears up their equipment. It's too hard on the equipment.
So what's the
So-
plan right here, right now? Because it's insulting to think
This
Well,
is,
you're
I would
spending
just-
real money on.
I would just like to add that last October, we had no idea that this winter was going to be as dry as it is. And so bringing in the material from Knife River was a solution to get us through this winter so that we could make a plan while the weather was nicer to get in there and get that fixed. So, you know, coming into October, you're kind of limited on days that you can get people to do that kind of work, particularly on the mountain, because the temperatures are cooler up there than they are in town. And so it's not that this board has forgotten about what we talked about last spring or last fall, but we had no way of knowing it was going to be 65 degrees the rest of the winter, and that it was, inevitably we thought there would be snowpack up there in the parking lot, and the fact that we haven't had any snow is why that there's mud everywhere. And had we had a normal snow year, there would be snow in that parking lot, and it would be an issue during the mud season when ski season is over, but that's not. I understand that. What I'm saying is we haven't forgotten.
Okay, so
And
what's-
Mike has done the work, and we did a little fix to get us through the winter so that this spring and fall we could get it prepared for next ski season.
But I will say, Bruce, it looks a whole lot better right now than it did last year at this time.
Every day they've been working because there's an opportunity. But anyway. people
But Mike
like
did
all-
get the topography done up there, and he did look at the sloping, and we got that done last fall. And so there is a plan in place, but you can't get somebody up there to do anything about it during the winter months.
So the only thing that didn't get done was the box culvert getting installed, and that's still on the agenda to get done.
That's the
But
crux.
it was graded, following a professional topo. You can see in your picture here how the water flows in somewhat of a channel. That's quite an improvement, and it's tightened up quite a bit, because last spring, when you drove over this parking lot, you sank in 6-8 inches deep. Now with the additional gravel and the better grading and some drainage, I mean, there's still some pooling, but you're not getting the rutting like you used to.
Drive up there.
I do.
My point is, spring has come, we're in the mud season, and dry or not, we might have missed by a few weeks. But I don't care about what's happening. I'm really curious about what's the plan moving forward and how fast can it go? Because we've had 2 weeks, we can't wait 2 more years like the bear trap show. Let's look ahead. What does anyone think's gonna happen in the next 2 months, which is season? And yeah, it'll snow, it won't snow. It's, but people worked on that mountain all winter. And, construction business.
So Bruce, yeah, just real quick. I mean, obviously, still very much getting my feet wet in this board. But I was aware of, obviously, I've been aware of the issue with the parking lot. I'm up there all the time. But at our last work session, it's funny you mentioned the frost-proof line with the hydrant, because that was actually something that I mentioned in our last work session, being a priority, needs to happen. As far as like what that process is going to look like, I don't know. Again, still getting my feet wet, but it's a priority for me. It's a priority for this board to obviously get that done. What that's going to look like, I don't know. I guess I can just hope that it's going to happen and push for it to happen. But again, being new on the board, like, we want the same thing. Like, I want water on that mountain, not just for the campers, but for fire mitigation. We all know that this summer is going to be pretty bleak if we don't get some good moisture this spring. So the need to get something put in now instead of later, I 100% agree. And I think that everybody on this board agrees as well.
No, I appreciate that, and I appreciate again what you're all doing. I'm just saying, you might have to shift gears.
Yep.
Seeing this Parks Department needs your leadership and your drive to get some things done. We hear about the same things over and over. And that's on video. Go to any YouTube you want. I thought I saw this before. Yeah, you did.
All right, we got any other public comment? Okay. We'll go on to trustee comments. Justin, have you got anything to add tonight?
Yeah, like I just said, just reiterate again. Still getting my feet wet with all this. Very well aware of the issues with more aware now of the lottery issues and that whole process. But again, just patience. We're gonna figure it out. Not everybody's gonna be the most happy, but that's kind of just reality. But we are trying to work towards the same things. I fully believe that. And then, yeah, just patience and hopefully we can get some things done this summer to get some positive growth and progress going for the Parks Department, because that's what we all want. So, thank you.
Stacy?
I just have to say that, we are still a new board. John Hatcher and I have only been on this for less than a year. Dave North has been doing this for a really long time, and we appreciate his guidance and leadership and historical perspective on what's going on. And, we just ask for some grace and understanding as we try to navigate through all this. We're here because we support the parks and we want to make change and we want to make things better and we want everybody to be able to enjoy all of the parks to, fullest of, the extent possible. And we're here to, be an advocate for everybody, for the mountain, for the lake, for all the different parks in Natrona County. And we're here because we care and we're members of this community. And so as we're onboarding, I'm not aware of the history that's gone on for 10 years, but I'm willing to jump in and learn. And I want to do right by everybody involved in this and also do what's right by the county. And so I just want to say, give us some grace. We are listening. We hear you, and we want to come to some compromises on things and make things fair and get things done. So that's my goal as a board member. But thank you all for having me here.
John?
No, I'll say the same thing that Justin and Stacy said, as far as this is a volunteer thing. We put our applications in, but everyone that showed up there to get, picked for these positions was because we did have something that we wanted to make this, Natrona County Parks, good for everyone, not only for our community, but everyone's coming in. So like I said, we are working on it, trying to figure things out. And with that, I would like to thank Michael. I had someone from the trailer park that came up to me this last weekend and would like to thank your people out there working. They were cleaning the gutters of leaves, and they were out there through the middle of the week to check on their trailer. And there was a lady that was out there, and she's like, well, we're just doing what we need to do out here. But they really would like to thank the people out there because they're cleaning those out to where, again, when things start, water starts flowing or anything else, it's important to have those gutters cleaned out with the new sidewalks we put in. So I just wanted to give that to you, whoever you have working out there. There was a person in the trailer park appreciated that the people from the Parks Department was out there cleaning stuff up.
I'll let my staff know. Thank you.
Okay. That's all I have.
The only thing I really want to add is that our park system is very big. And everybody focuses on what's important to them and what's right in front of them. And when you start having to stretch our resources all the way across the board, it seems like we're stretched out a little bit further than we would really like sometimes. That doesn't mean that we're not concerned and that we're not working toward improving things, but just because we don't get to something immediately doesn't mean that we don't believe it's important, but it's just that we have a lot of other things that we have to do that goes right along with that. Our park system on the mountain is big, and it's like I said earlier, we're trying to get something taken care of as far as the lease agreement. That puts us in a real stalemate as far as what we can and can't do right now, and transferring properties and doing other things up on the mountain until that's completed. We're kind of on hold on a lot of stuff. There's just a lot of things we can't do. We do own some areas that are outright, like Bear Trap, Ponderosa Park, and we run the archery range, but that's under a lease agreement with the BLM. So those are all different. The BOR is the same way. We have to work within the constraints that they give us, and that takes a lot of effort, a lot more than people realize sometimes. Fortunately, I'm really thankful that Visit Casper was able to step up and help us out with Hell's Half Acre, because that had been neglected for years. I mean, a lot of years. And now it's something we can be proud of. I mean, it's got a good boardwalk out there. It's got a good location. It's got information signs. We're getting an outhouse out there this year, and some other stuff. So it kind of takes us all the way across the county. There's a lot of stuff that we have to look at. So just because we don't get to something as soon as you think that we should, it doesn't mean that we're neglecting it. It just means that there's things that we have to get taken care of. Right now, one of the things that we're going to have to work on with Michael is our budget, because we've got to turn that in pretty soon. And I will tell you that looking at the revenue projections, it's anybody's guess. So we don't know exactly what we're going to be able to get and what we're not going to be able to get. But we can't spend money that we don't have. And that comes down to where we go and what happens. So with that, I don't have anything else. So we are adjourned.